do we want to go for a couple scenes and you know see how the wheels go? Let's play. I guess I'm saying. Ready? So I believe that Morgan is going to. Oh, sorry. I believe Alex is going to be going after Morgan, and starts with the magic words.
What are you doing, Morgan? What's Azimuth up to?
Let me see. Previously on Cosmic Zap.
We don't care about that.
Yeah, well, no, I was making fun of Jordan for that, but we should get some orientation. So,
the last time, the last session that Azimuth was involved in, he just come back from the confrontation between himself and Demetrius and Zebediah and Shinlao, and they sealed Shinlao away. And Diamonds had returned into a quasi-mortal form, or reeled back her powers a bit, and gone back with Zebediah to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow, you've been gone for a couple sessions. You're right. Yeah, a lot has happened since then. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Earth's first mind,
I guess
decided that humanity pissed him off.
Mm-hmm.
And also we had a massive blowout. Zebediah, I believe you were there. Zebediah thought he was done with music, but he was not. And then but so now he has gone galactic with his music and is now a galactic event. But that's because he jumped to mastery with his band.
Oh, very nice.
So now it's transformed into this larger scale thing. But he and Demetrius had a cosmic showdown, which elevated Diamonds to the second level of mastery.
Okay.
And sealed Demetrius away in stasis.
Yep.
So, yeah, very...
What was it? What was the source of the conflict between Demetrius and Zebediah?
Diamonds.
So, Demetrius wanted to undo what happened to Diamonds.
Possibly, yeah. We did,
Okay,
yeah, I think that was part of the idea.
Okay, so this is all still taking place in the 20th century?
Well, I believe Earth's first mind is still kicking around in the future, and once you start messing with neutron stars, which we did, I think when that happened, it becomes a little bit of a abstraction. But aside from that, yes. But the 20th century has changed. If you may remember that the energy that we now have a global energy system, which is much, you have changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll say that Azimuth, as Calvin Wu, is he's walking beside his brother Ken down a slum area in New York that appears to be transformed by the installation of this new power infrastructure. So you can see these pylons with faintly alien-looking technology being installed by workers. And you can see there's some garbage on the ground and there's papers blowing around. So there's still a lot of poverty on the ground, and there's this contrast between these massive feats of technology that are bringing power to the wealthier boroughs, and there are still these dilapidated, rundown slums parked just a couple of blocks away. And so I'm talking to Ken, who's explaining all this to me. And
I like that. So much for the technocrats, right?
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Right.
So he walked me up the step of one of these slum apartments, living room where there's a kid who died of a drug overdose. And he suspects that he may have been forced into it as part of a larger gang crime. And he wants me to investigate and get to the bottom of this. And that's what Azimuth is busy with at the moment. So he's inspecting the crime scene, and let me see. using the precognitive ability, let's say, to try and get a sense of what the killer's true motives were.
That's. Oh, when do I come into attack?
As soon as you made the face you just made that you'll see on the video. You guys are recognizing that now, right? Every single person just gets this look of Christmas morning on their face at some point, you know.
Okay, I'm spending a hero point to put an ability on at any point, right?
Yes.
So I'm putting.
Everyone has 3. Yeah.
Quinn Lau, Temporal Chess Master, in my cosmic.
Okay. Right.
Now he's
Temporal Chess Master.
Yep. He's been knocked back to wherever. We don't know where, right? Locked away somewhere, somehow.
Back, I believe, several epochs back in the past is sort of the idea.
And at this point, he's manipulating time from back there.
Sure.
Okay.
Which is possibly having an effect with your kind of precognition, whereas normally you'd see one kind of future or a few possible futures. At this point, they're just breaking apart into fucking billions of futures.
I think we kind of alluded to such a thing at some point anyway, so yeah.
So my readings are getting a lot of static.
Yeah.
So
okay, it's not useful.
So well, that's what you're going to say now is what ability are you targeting? And it may be the one that he said he was using, or it could be something else.
Oh, you get a choice. Oh no, I was hoping he would use that so I could target it, but that's what I'm targeting.
Okay, good enough. Yeah. Okay. So then,
what does the temporal chess master ability start at?
13.
13.
And is it personal, cosmic, super?
It's cosmic.
Okay. And precognitive is super, so you'd have advantage on that roll.
Yep.
It depends on what yes, you would have the advantage on that roll. And that would mean he would get a hero point. He spent one to make the ability, and he has a new one as well. So then then you get to choose what you defend with.
Okay.
Which, again, could be the same ability, or it could be any ability you want to defend with.
I'm just going to go with Childer Chin Lao.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like I can sense my father's interference in the time flow.
So let's visualize this. This is kind of cool. I mean, there you are, like in some rundown tenement flat, and you're looking at, the scattered belongings of this poor indigent person. I kind of like the idea that Ken, even though he doesn't look like a slovenly homeless person, does look like he's familiar with this environment. Like a seedy lawyer-looking kind of guy, or something like that. And you look very much out of place in the environment, in this environment. Yeah, as somewhat more elegant, somewhat more, I'm going by what you described as your character's lifestyle already. Sort of thinking about that. So this is me being the GM, kind of just filling in colors and riffing off of what I've heard. The reason I'm doing that is because I want visuals from both of you about what the attack looks like. And you already said splitting the future into millions of places is mind fragmenting, right? And so now you would describe what defending with that ability looks like.
Okay. So I'm using my precognitive ability to see into the future. And I find that it splits into a variety of different trails. And one, I can see massive seething gang wars that have just torn apart the city, and there are fires breaking out everywhere, and garbage cans kicked over, and there are dead bodies in the street. And in another of these futures, it's a regimented fascist dystopia where there are these huge banners lining the avenues, and goose-stepping, amped up foot soldiers of the police force. And in another of these futures, there's a massive gleaming cube rotating in the sky.
I wondered when that fucking thing would show up.
And there's a there's 100 other flashes of possible ways that the future could go, and out of the corner of my eye, I always glimpse a sinuous, dark, wriggling form, which I recognize from composites of these different futures when I assemble the different shards and put them together. So that's how I get the sense that he's involved. So that's how I'm defending.
I mean, are you going to challenge it? Step into the interstices of the future and, confront it nose to nose or something like that?
Well, Alex is attacking my precognitive ability, right?
Correct.
And using the temporal chess master ability.
Yep.
But you're using Child of Chin Lao, so you can be like in Chin Lao's zone or whatever.
And which sets the advantage?
We got that, Gordon, covered. It's the attacker versus the targeted ability, not the defending ability.
Okay.
That way the defender can't shift the advantage. Right.
My main concern for the moment is to protect myself. So what I'm going to do he's using temporal chess master ability. Let's say I'm going to specifically defend myself by doing something completely unexpected. So in the present day, I take out a box of matches and I burn the apartment.
Oh, wow.
I then take off all my clothes and pick up whatever dirty rags I can find from the street, and I throw my money away and I head out of town as fast as I can.
Didn't see that coming. So this is using Child of Chin Lao how? I'm a little confused.
Well, basically, because the Child of Chin Lao just allowed me to recognize his intervention, and I know if I'm going to frustrate his plans to manipulate the future, I have to do something that no one could account for.
Okay. We have dice to concern ourselves with.
Right.
So far in this game, we have only used what are called simple conflicts. And we haven't even really used the group resolution method. We should have in a couple of instances. So I'll just keep my eyes open for group situations. And if anybody finds himself in a situation where they just don't want it to be one role, they want it to be several roles, and especially if we're in a group with lots of different things that could happen to different characters, then we'll use the group extended rules. So anyway, but here we are in our plain old simple contest. So let's do it.
So I get a 6.
Tell me.
Which means it's a success.
Okay.
Okay. Child of Chin Lao is 2W.
Right.
And I get a 13, so that's still a success because it's a mastery, right?
Correct. It is a success.
Right.
So it's success on success.
Correct, which is our usual situation of a marginal victory for the attacker. But we do have hero points to concern ourselves with. Both people have 3 hero points available to them.
Okay. I will spend one of them then.
Are you going to bump yourself? At the moment, it doesn't matter much.
I'll bump myself up to a critical.
Okay, so you bump yourself to a critical. Okay. So success on a critical means, I believe, a minor defeat for Alex.
Minus 6 to the keyword.
In our new construction, that's minus 6 to an ability. In this case, probably the attacking ability.
So that would be bumped down from 7.
Right. What was Chinmao specifically looking to accomplish here?
Well, I think first he's trying to, mess with your ability to foresee the future, presumably so he can manipulate you in some other way, which is as yet to be determined.
Okay, all right.
I can try that in if you want, but or we can leave it blank.
So he was just trying to cloud my vision of the future. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So that doesn't happen. My precognitive ability is otherwise intact. It's just at the price of doing something completely insane.
Well, no, you got a minor victory, which will bump it up by 3. You were the defender, so you could either use that ability. I just made a matrix here.
Okay.
There, see?
So I could.
That's what game design looks like, folks. And so Alex's options are to increase the ability that they used or to increase some other relevant ability. Or that's Morgan's options. Sorry, that's Morgan's options.
I think I'll go with increasing precognitive.
Okay, good enough. So it goes up by 3. So that's that. Now, the way that this works is that the GM has to continue to keep playing. That you've done this. I mean, you've thrown away all your stuff. You've, basically walked off into the scary parts of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I presume this was a fairly cataclysmic event in a lot of ways, with the burning building and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
Ben is understandably horrified.
Right. Well, I think we'll let the rest of us figure out how to work with Ken in this. But I agree that part of the narration is that Ken is, probably there's you're separated in the disaster and he doesn't know what's become of you or something like that.
Okay.
Or something like that. We find out perhaps later. But at the moment, we know that you're separated from Ken and that he's been, shocked and amazed. So you have wandered off into the city. Now the question is, do you want to do anything specific, or not?
Well, we were starting at Alex, and Alex was challenging me.
Right. Well, don't worry about that part. No, right now it's just you and me playing.
Okay.
And until such a time as either I call a conflict involving a difficulty, or, which means no other ability is involved. You just pick an ability, or we pick an ability and we just roll it for a difficulty. Or Alex, who's still kind of watching above, decides that another interesting conflict could occur.
Okay, then.
But if neither of the person who calls a stop to all this is you, and you say, okay, I'm done. I want to go after someone else. So go ahead.
I would still like to try and use my precognitive ability to figure out the true motives behind the person who killed that.
Perfect. Okay.
Teen back in the apartment.
So what I'm going to do is then say you're rolling against a difficulty. So therefore, I have my ability for difficulty, which is 15, and you have yours, which is at 17, okay. I believe. Now, right? Precognitive just became 17. Is that right? Okay, so therefore we will roll. Let's do it right now. And tell me a little bit more. Now that you are all in rags and all destitute and all lost in among the pylons, the slums among the pylons, right. What are you doing? Are you getting deeper into your precognitive mode, and what does it look like?
I'm sort of just following my intuitions here because I'm getting glimpses from this young man's past. I can see where he was the previous night. He was sitting at the table, drinking a few beers, and talking to people that I can't actually quite make out.
Okay, well that's what the role is. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. But I am walking down the streets as I'm doing it because I'm getting a sense of where I'm supposed to head.
Okay.
So let's say that's an 18.
Which is a failure on your part. Your dice effect is a failure.
Oh, yeah.
So it's success on failure. So then we look at success on failure, which gives me a minor victory. Because I rolled success. So therefore, you see, yeah. It's why I have that little chart in there, which is that your die roll it has terms: critical, success, failure, or fumble. Mm-hmm. But that's not the outcome at all. That's just what your dice said. So therefore, right now you're looking at a minor defeat.
Right.
Now, if you bump the nice thing about your hero points is you can use them to bump yourself up and me down. Mm-hmm. And particularly in this contest, I have no hero points. So if you don't mind just blowing your hero points to hell and gone, you can shape it as very openly. You could shape me down to a failure, so you have a success on a failure, for example. Okay. No, wait, you could shape me all the way to 2 hero points. You could push me all the way down to a fumble, and you would have a success on a fumble.
You kind of sound like you want me to do that. So,
no, I'm trying to show you the numerical range.
Okay.
And I want to emphasize that would mean that you're walking around with no hero points now.
Yep.
So it's completely up to you how important this is. You're making the roll, so you should be the white. You got a failure. Go to my success as a column, and you'll see a shaded minor victory for me, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where we were. If he bumps himself to a success, we go up, and we're looking at his marginal victory, and that's that.
Yeah.
If we bump him, if he bumps me to a failure, then we have a marginal victory, which he happens to win with having the higher roll.
Yeah.
So it's the same effect, but you see, if he had the lower number, that would have been a bad idea.
Okay.
Mm.
You guys get. So I just want you guys to use the chart. I'm just doing chart training here.
Yeah.
So okay. All right. So good. So you have a marginal victory.
Okay.
And marginal victory gets no points, no change to your ability. But it does. So the only effect is a narrated one, and I am the narrator. And what you'll find is that there is a whole new kind of crime. This is free energy. This is energy available for everybody. You know, there is no more whatever, no more wants, no more hunger, no more poverty, no more illness, no more. Well, you know, the list is long, at least as far as the promises are concerned. In reality, what all this has done, this person had bet or had laid their life down as collateral for a particular, I'm trying to think of what would be valuable. I have to be very creative all of a sudden.
Maybe some kind of underground fight ring?
Well, I was thinking of something a little more science fiction-y, something that was specific to energy being, available to all. What would people want? I know. This is politics. It's an issue. This is politics.
Okay.
If somebody wants, there is a policy issue among the dwellers, of the city, and they, and basically without money, without energy-based resources to make policy happen during times of disputes, it's a matter of who puts their lives on the line. So basically, your life is your vote. In order to make the issue go the way he wanted, I'm trying to make this more of a kind of tragic situation.
Maybe he wanted a bigger apartment for moving in with his girlfriend or something?
I think it was probably something more. When I say an issue, I mean like policy that everybody's going to follow. This is a community thing. And so it had more to do with something about the way people live or the way we do things or the way, some more important thing than just personal privilege of the moment.
Okay.
But the fact is that given this new way of life, people are dying for their commitments, and that so the overdose was forcibly administered. And that's the way things get done down here in the dark, down here among the people who are supposed to have everything. They're supposed to have poverty, completely solved. They're supposed to have everything taken care of, but instead we live in this grim, vicious world of assassination-based libertarianism,
Okay.
So
which they
what
call democracy.
So they created this. So Jocelyn and I created this cyberpunk future.
All futures are cyberpunk future.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I have the marginal victory there, and I know what started this dispute and why he was forced to kill himself, I presumably I have an image of the person who
Absolutely,
who
yes.
so to speak?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll have to think a little bit about that. If you want to keep going, then I guess I have to be more creative. So it's up to you.
I'm happy to leave it there for the moment if someone else wants to take a turn.
Okay. Because then that gives me a little bit of time to kind of figure out cool shit about what it's like. I had to do the whole 22nd century a couple sessions ago.
Yeah.
Let's take a look then at who is up next. And I believe it was the other person who wasn't here, which would be Earth's First Mind. So Morgan gets to go and torture Gordon.
And I have to do it with something on my sheet.
No. You have that choice. The first thing you do is ask him what he's doing.
Okay. And then it can be either something something on my sheet or something problematic on his sheet.
Well, yes, but there's a further constraint for the first option. But let's go in sequence. There in my document where it says, next go, and so on the third page, and so you would say, we'll follow the sequence exactly. So if you say, what are you doing, then Gordon tells us.
Right. So, Gordon, what is Earth's First Mind doing at the moment?
So
Or
at
some other
this
distant
point,
moment?
Earth's First Mind is done with the 22nd century. There was this terrible justice system where these robots appeared and came to a utterly logical conclusion about what needed to happen, and he got rid of it, and it got replaced by whoever's richest wins the lawsuit. So
Total science fiction, Morgan. Total science fiction.
All right.
I would not know.
Certainly there would be no real world legal system that would ever work that way. But since there is now in the 22nd century, it's quite possible that maybe humans aren't as hopeful as I thought they were. There may not be hope for this species after all. They may just die out like all the others. But in any case, I want to get out of here. So I want to stride the abyss of time and leave this place, probably go back to where I was in the 20th century just to check in. Because, of course, he doesn't know anything about what's happened there either. Conflict dependent whether he gets to even get out of here, because
he's striding the abyss of time is what he's doing. So then and I believe we had a really cool imagery for what that looked like last time, but I don't know what it looks like this time.
Well, so this time, because he has, whether through mechanics or Gordon's own limitations, not been able to get out for a while, he's trying to find somewhere on the planet where there's an opening that he can get through. So he's actually flicking through hundreds of iconic and recognizable to somebody locations on the planet, beneath the Arc de Triomphe and at the Rock of Gibraltar and on Fiji, trying to find the place where he can step out of this world into the abyss and leave.
The world's last spot of unpolluted fresh water or something?
That may be what it turns out to be.
So Morgan,
So, I mean,
you
this
would
is an interesting. I do have an idea of what it might turn out to be, but I'm assuming that's probably better to let the other player figure that out.
It depends. It depends. Depends on what you feel like drawing.
Okay.
At last I have come, and it is ...
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think for now we'll stick with he's searching through lots of locations.
So Morgan, you would choose either something on his own sheet that opposes this, or you would have to pick something on your sheet, but it has to come directly, causally from what just happened in your scene.
Right. Okay. Let's say I'm using precognitive because I have an image of who is responsible for arranging this forced suicide, and there's this cabal of individuals associated in that vision, and the face of Earth's first mind is right there. He is part of this cabal.
Is that like the human face or the Silurian face?
It's the human face.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So, so what ability are you attacking?
Let me see. Precognitive. And I'm going to attack secret supporter of female CEO of Global Ocean Action.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
So maybe this whole issue was involved. Well, that helps me because that lets me know that the issue that this guy died over had something to do with the oceans and that.
That makes a certain amount of sense. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's good. So good. All right. So, what does the attack look like?
I can see this woman. Well, there's no money in this altered, energy-rich world, is there?
Right.
I can see her being handed the deed to a large area of property on the waterfront.
What I'm interested in is from Earth's First Mind's perspective, what is the destructive or impactful or eventful, moment?
That's a good question. The idea is that I'm digging out something incriminating on this woman.
Yes, but you have to be affecting Earth's First Mind so that Gordon can respond.
The place that he finds to leave the 22nd century is this old, neglected memorial to some activity that Global Ocean Action had taken back in the 20th century. And that, at that location is where he finds the opening into the abyss of time.
I think that makes a lot of sense. The idea, there's a couple of things you could do. You could either literally block the striding so that he's completely unable to leave. I, for one, am a little tired of the 22nd century too, so I don't necessarily favor that option. But it is an option. The other is that you could go ahead and let him step through the abyss of time only to discover something very different than what he knew, because you are targeting something and changing it. So he comes back to the 20th century with something drastically altered or diminished or, messed up.
I'm kind of not clear on where to go with this.
Okay. I'm going to suggest that you think of what he's doing. He is striding the abyss of time and he's returning to the 20th century. You're using your precognitive ability to actually alter the nature of what is about to happen, correct? I'm going by what you had said. Is that right?
I don't think I've gotten that far yet. I mean, the precognitive ability in itself would only give me information.
Right.
So,
okay, so maybe you need to think differently. Maybe you need to think differently about what you're attacking with then.
Could I just say that it leads me to... It means I know where Earth's first mind is going to return to.
That's not really a conflict, though. I mean, you could just put yourself there.
If there's no conflict with your character, you could just use an ability, one of his abilities. Yeah,
I mean, if you're not feeling it, I mean, if you feel like you're forcing it, then just go over to one of his abilities and make him make trouble for himself.
I kind of do want, I do want Calvin to know that, though.
Okay.
It's not a conflict in itself.
That's all right. Then just put Calvin there when he arrives. You can keep yourself in the scene. That's never a problem.
Okay. All right, then.
Right.
Do know where its first mind is coming through the Silurian.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be using my precognitive ability to challenge him. I will just be using, let's say, curious. I'll just use my curious ability.
Okay, and what are you targeting with it? Are you still targeting the...
I'm still targeting his Secret Supporter Female CEO Global Ocean Action.
Okay.
And I want him to tell me everything he knows about this woman.
Oh, all right.
And I want to convince him that she is bad news.
That's interesting. We haven't had a convince-based conflict yet.
At that point, I would say that face that you were seeing in your precognition associated with the death of the boy would be her face, not Earth's first mind.
Yeah, that would make sense. Well, I could see you both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, potentially both, but certainly bring her into... If you're trying to make her bad, you would definitely want to bring her into it.
So I might ask you, okay, how do you know this woman? What is her name?
Right.
What brings you from these distant gulfs of space and time to meddle in our own history? And whatever it is you need to do, I'm here to stop you.
Now we're talking.
Okay. So let's see just how shaken my support of her is by whatever you say. I guess that's what we're resolving here?
I think so.
Yeah. All right, so how do I defend is the question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I'll just defend with my servant of sentience. I believe in Global Ocean Action and their CEO as a positive thing in the universe, and so therefore I'm going to attempt to not let you get to me by remembering how much I respect the work that they're doing.
Cosmic space whales, man. Don't mess with the space whales.
You're doing something really wrong here. These people are more right than you could ever imagine.
Okay.
I'm going to end up with a success on my roll.
Okay then. So I rolled a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a 9?
Both are probably successes for you.
That's a 9, so yeah, that's a success either way. So success versus success, and
you're the attack.
I took the initiative.
Right, you're the attacker, so you're the white. You're running down the left-hand column, and you use the white results if you win.
Right, so that gives you a marginal victory.
Okay.
I can spend some hero points. Yeah, I'll go ahead and spend a hero point to bump my success to a critical, so that would give me a minor victory.
Okay, then.
So at that point, I simply have a minor victory.
Except that he has hero points too. Don't forget.
Right.
I'm not going to spend any hero points.
So I will arrive back in the 20th century near you, and the GM will narrate.
Maybe here's where we should be more fiction first. Because this is all kind of very conceptual.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to get a slightly better idea of the visuals, but I'm seeing Calvin in this blasted no man's land of slums and, places that aren't supposed to exist because everything's perfect now. Free energy was supposed to solve everything, but now we're still in these weird underworld, of overdoses and neglect and horror. And then so Calvin is in one of those, and Earth's First Mind has come to the place where they're going to build that memorial, which doesn't look like anywhere you would build a memorial, but in the future it may be. And so that's the scene that I'm seeing, is just you're challenging Earth's First Mind. Earth's First Mind, comes through the temporal portal and replies. So that's what I want to know what the reply is.
The reply to the accusation that somehow Cynthia was involved in this tragedy that you described is that can't possibly be right.
Okay.
There's no way. I know her well. If more humans were like her, this planet would be a better place. I can't explain why you see her face here, but clearly you are in some way mistaken.
Okay, then. I'm taken aback by his evident conviction and sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
He is...
What the hell? Did I lose the connection somehow?
She can shed some light on what happened to this poor boy, or if she knew any of the other faces that I saw on my vision.
Good, but now we're going to do the
to introduce you, although you might consider cleaning up a bit.
I don't know.
Now we need to do the abilities. That's +3, the Defender one, so you can have +3 to the ability that you were using, which was Striding the Abyss of Time, or some other ability that is relevant, or the ability that was targeted.
Yeah, so the defending ability actually really doesn't come in unless it actually really makes sense, and I think actually it makes much more sense to Secret Supporter of Cynthia.
Right.
Makes a lot more sense.
Sounds good.
As the one to bump in there.
Excellent. So, cool. And I believe that now, Gordon, keep going if you want to talk about what you're going to do next and how it's going to go and where you go and what you do. Or be done and move on. Either one. If you, in other words, if you think your spotlight needs to go on for a bit to make all this, go somewhere or make sense or be more playing your character, you go right ahead.
Yeah, well, we've established that that Earth's First Mind is going to introduce
Azimuth.
Azimuth to Cynthia, But I don't think we need to do that right now. I think I'm fine with letting the spotlight. I've gotten to the 20th century again. That's a step in the right direction, and I can now pass the spotlight on to one of the other PCs.
Right. And I take a -6 penalty to the Curious.
I guess there's something else that. Yeah, that's.
Hold on, matrix check.
Yeah, I'm not clear. Does it happen both ways?
It does happen both ways, Jordan. But hold on, matrix check here. Attacker, lose. The ability you used is what gets hammered.
Right.
Yeah, if the attacker loses, the ability that they used must drop.
Okay.
If the defender loses, the ability that was targeted must drop. So those are very fixed. It's the one who wins has a little more flexibility, and then I made a little set of options for those. The defending winner actually has the most wide range of things they can do.
So who do I ask what they're doing?
It's Demetheus' turn to be targeted.
Okay.
Right. So therefore, Gordon.
I asked Demetheus what he's doing, and he says, "In stasis, sir."
Yeah. I don't have that many options. So I guess what I'm doing is that my body is at the center of this dead planet, this mecha dead planet, and I'm like floating there around asleep. Possibly my body's frozen and my mind is trying to wake it up. So I'm using I guess it's Steven Baxter. That will be the one I'm using. I'm trying to wake myself up and like escape from this mental stasis or this stasis. I mean.
So, and I need to use something off my sheet.
Or mine.
Or against yourself. There you go. Being without Steven Baxter, there's part of you that is just a being of pure energy and has no problem with losing this Steven Baxter identity.
This mortal coil.
Yes, it's just, you're not sure it's that important, really.
Ooh, and a being of pure energy, who cares if you're in stasis or not? You just are.
Exactly. You're just going to remain a being of pure energy, enjoying existence for its own sake.
Okay.
How Buddhist?
I think, didn't we establish that this type of contest's potentially not legit?
What's
Gordon's framing an intent for Hyel.
Sure.
Oh, that's true.
Right, so he has to ask, is that okay? Right.
Yeah, that would be the thing. I think that's the usual procedure. Is like, would your character be like, would you see your character doing that?
Or would you see that ability doing that? Yeah, that aspect.
Can you see that, a being of pure energy would actually, overtake that for your character, or is that just not?
Yeah, I think it would make sense. It's not that necessarily I'm going to stay here the whole eternity. It's just I would not mind leaving the mortal body behind, losing Steven Baxter. I could see that happening. Yeah. Cool.
Keeping in mind that a full victory here, a complete victory, means Steven Baxter's dead.
Yep, pretty much.
He's already immobilized in time. So.
Yeah. Who cares? I guess. We'll see. So.
So let's see. That's actually, what am I doing? I'm targeting your personal with a cosmic, so you actually do have the advantage there.
Oh, good. Nice. but you're using also my strongest ability, so I'm going to need it.
Ooh, yes, that's you're at 11. I rolled the 6, so that is in fact a success that automatically bumps to a critical. So I do have a critical.
Now you're using the big weapons with me, and I'm going to have to respond according to that. I'm going to say that I'm not just a being of, not any being of pure energy. I'm the motherfucking protector of Theron, and I have a responsibility to my people and to others.
And Stephen Baxter matters to Theron, apparently.
Yeah. Stephen Baxter is what keeps me grounded in my mission.
I can believe that.
So that's well, I'm going to roll and see what happens. That's a 4. That's a success plus this is 7 mastery 2. So that's a success that goes to
A critical.
So I now have a plain success against a critical.
Right. So he gets, I believe, a minor victory.
Which is a minor victory. For you.
Yeah.
So it would, if he spends 2 more hero points to bump me all the way to a
Right.
that'll
Will
take
you
me
do
all-
that? Do you
take him
have
all
2
the
to
way a
subvend?
complete victory.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it takes. Yeah.
I mean, you could do 1 to a major, 2 to a complete.
Let's. I don't think I've ever had a complete victory.
Why don't you take a look at the mechanics first? Because we are talking about things on your own sheet. You might be careful what you wish for.
Oh, because the damage
Right.
go to the being of pure energy.
That's right.
Oh shit.
Yeah, as he was getting all excited about his hero points there. Yeah.
You will yourself into an entirely mortal state and then suffocate in space.
You do well, Morgan, I was totally thinking that he would suddenly just be Stephen Baxter.
Yeah. No. Nah. I think maybe let's forget about the hero points. I think I'm happy where I am.
Well, then you have to tell me what you mean.
So we were on a marginal victory, I think.
Minor.
Minor. I think that'll be okay.
Okay, minor victory is going to be -3 to the -6 to the
Being of pure energy.
the being of pure energy, and a +3 to whatever was being used against it. Stephen Baxter, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So my narration, of course, is that you find yourself seated at your desk on Earth doing Stephen Baxter things. Bam. Like that.
Okay.
My goodness, targeting somebody with stuff off their own sheet is...
It's diabolical. That's
Okay.
what
I
it is.
didn't even realize that, but gosh, that's kind of nasty.
Yeah. So, Ihel, that's where Stephen Baxter is working away on equations and having a fine time. In fact, you know what? He probably is writing this huge equation on transparent material that's appearing on the tablets of all the students who are in this discussion conference with him.
Okay. Is there anything else I would want to do? I mean, I do want to do a little bit more because all I've done is get out of stasis.
You could do something.
Oh yeah,
Go ahead.
I got it. I get it. You know, I didn't give humanity unlimited energy for nothing. I do have my own reasons. I do still need energy for my god-killing weapon.
Well, that got you in a lot of trouble trying to work on that god-killing weapon. You know that, right?
Well,
That was quite a detour you took.
it's coming, so I have to work on it. So yeah, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to I've been demonstrating this whole equation, like two chalkboard size equation, to be able to reboot the energy of this new energy into my planet, to the god-killing weapon, to use it in the future. So basically, I want to increase the level of that ability.
Wow, Dr. Baxter, says a student. If that were true, then that means that abstractions could be targeted with material energy.
It's not just matter that is energy. Abstraction are as well.
Ah.
Okay, so I guess that's a normal roll, like
Of difficulty, yes, I'm ready. Okay, so you're going to make your roll?
Yeah, and I think I'm using astrophysics.
Of course,
astrophysics professor.
absolutely.
Okay. Roll. That's a success. So far.
Okay, I got a success as well, and so you got a marginal victory.
And now is when bumping up things comes really handy.
Because now you want to improve it, so you need to spend hero points to get it up there.
So I can make my success into a critical.
Yes, and that will then give you a minor victory, and so then you would be getting a +3. And if you want to make my success into a fumble, then you can get a +6.
That sounds better, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to do that as well.
Okay, so there you go. So therefore your final sentence to that student takes on a +6 force of artistic design in the comic. Yeah. Or maybe this is the one that comes with a little, one of those little cheap plastic records that are in the back of the comic that you can tear out and pop out and play on your 45.
Yeah, I think
RPMs.
like when I say that, it's not normal teacher saying science bullshit. It's just you see this look in my eyes, like, oh, you don't really know. If you only knew what I'm talking about.
Well, and more than that, we're drawing this, right? We've got the Joe Kubert, underbrow, stare, and we've got the cosmic weird shit happening in the back of the panel for no reason.
Probably like instead of in the back is inside my eyes. Like
Oh, see now he's right.
Like this with the stars and.
Hold on just a second. I have something to show you.
Okay. In the meantime, my ability went to acquire one mastery.
There you go, and so it has to get renamed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to change it to Diamond Killer Weapon, but that could be a little too much on the nose.
Yeah. I think, God Killer Weaponry or something like that, or God Killer, just God Killer.
Yeah, actually,
but,
yeah.
Hold on, guys. I want to show you this.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that will be it for me.
Okay. So Alex has not been targeted this time.
So yeah.
And isn't that pleasant? Look who's coming after you, Alex.
So what is Sebediah doing right now?
I think there's a planet that's mostly seawater, and on that planet there's a small island. There's 3 suns in the sky, and on the small island, me and Diamonds are getting married.
Oh.
Oh god.
It's actually a fairly. I mean, there's a few hundred people there, but that's a fairly small, intimate gathering for me. maybe some of my expand members from Earth, and then a variety of aliens. I'm wearing a crushed velvet suit, purple. I think Diamonds is wearing some strange alien fabric with multiple kind of shimmering colours. And I'm holding the ring. And I'm basically trying to attack my Disenchanted.
Right. Right. So yes. So you name the ability you're using that's going to bring the Disenchanted down. This is a legitimate use of. This is a legitimate comment.
Diamonds.
Right. So interesting. You're trying to bring something down. I hadn't really thought of it that way. Is there a rule for reducing? I don't. Oh, Alex, you're making life difficult.
But in a very interesting way.
I know.
I know. No, wait. I mean, I could, if I wanted, say that I attack you with your Disenchanted.
Right. That's true. So you would be saying you're using diamonds, period. And then he would be attacking something with your Disenchanted.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is he's attacking.
Or you could have Diamonds attack a difficulty, and if Diamonds wins, Disenchanted goes down.
Yeah, but this particular this isn't a GM roll though. I was thinking about that, but I think that would be that's the kind of thing he would have to do on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that another player targets.
Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
For the when you're asked what are you doing, you have to just pick an ability that you're using. You can't do the fancy thing.
Right. Right. Yeah, you're not doing. You're not. Yeah. Exactly.
You could do that once this is over, and what are you doing next? You could do it then.
Right. You have to get through this before you can start doing things like that are specifically for your own issues. Yeah.
Like if your next thing were I want to increase my ability of diamonds to happily married with goddess.
Then you could roll against me with my difficulty there. Yeah. Right. Happily. Oh, you spend a hero point. Happily married. New ability.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so what are you going to target, Ihel?
I'm not sure. What is there?
Well, you have his sheet, right?
I mean, I have an old one.
Okay.
They're mostly the same. I've not got Orn anymore.
Okay.
And I have Quinn Lau, Temporal Chessmaster, as an extra.
Right.
I'm afraid of targeting diamonds because every time I do that...
Right, I suggest going after something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex gets a little protective. Starts using the rules really effectively at that point.
You had something like... you have something like Magnificent Present by causes resentment or hostility.
I do have that, yep.
I think I'm going to use that. No, I'm going to use Diamond
for
attack. To attack either Disenchanted or maybe.
Okay, Ihel, I'm losing the thread. I'm afraid I'm not following.
Okay. So
he's using diamonds. He's having a wonderful wedding.
Yeah.
You know from the player that he's trying to get less disenchanted. You know that's what's on his mind. It could be that we're just wiped out. Are we just too tired at this point? Ihel, are you feeling it? Or if you're struggling, we can just call it and pick up from here next time.
probably. It's just I'm not sure how to frame this right now.
Right. Yeah. So we can, given where we are, we can call it for now. I think. Is that all right with you, Alex?
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Cheers.
Bye.
Good night.